I stand vindicated and feel deeply blessed that the Supreme Court has given its unanimous verdict paving the way for the construction of a magnificent temple for Lord Ram at Ram Janmabhoomi in Ayodhya. That's how veteran BJP leader Lal Krishna Advani welcomed the Supreme Court's judgment in the Ayodhya title dispute. Vindicated. We all like the idea of being vindicated, don't we? But has L.K. Advani, the man who drove the Ram Janmabhoomi movement in the 80s, who put the BJP on the electoral map with his Rath Yatra and incendiary speeches, has he really been vindicated? Many believe that the Supreme Court judgment puts this whole disgraceful episode of Indian history to bed. In fact, Advani's statement went on to say, "The time has come to leave all acrimony behind and embrace communal concord in peace." A lovely sentiment, no doubt, but it might be useful for those claiming closure to read these lines from the Supreme Court judgment. And I quote, "The destruction of the mosque took place in breach of the order of status quo and an assurance given to this court. The destruction of the mosque and the obliteration of the Islamic structure was an egregious violation of the rule of law." Now, this Supreme Court judgment doesn't and can't itself do anything about this egregious violation of the rule of law. But despite the collective amnesia which seems to have gripped much of this country, it hasn't been forgotten. I'm talking here about the long-running criminal cases that arose out of those shameful events on 6 December 1992, including, if I may remind Mr. Advani, the case against him and his colleagues like Uma Bharti and Murli Manohar Joshi and Giriraj Singh and Sadhu Ritambra for their alleged role in the debacle, for rioting, unlawful assembly, promoting hate and enmity on the grounds of religion, assertion is prejudicial to national integration, destruction of a place of worship, and deliberate and malicious acts intended to outrage religious feelings. So that's a lot of offenses. Oh, and there's also the small matter of criminal conspiracy that he tried hard to have dropped. Now, it's been a long and difficult road to get this case tried, even though an FIR was registered against Advani and co. on the evening of 6 December 1992 itself. The CBI filed its consolidated charge sheet against unknown car sevaks, as well as Advani, Joshi, Bharti et al. In 1993, then a supplementary charge sheet in 1996, adding more prominent BJP and RSS figures, and even some from the Shiv Sena. But in 2001, Advani and co. successfully argued in the Allahabad High Court that the charges against them were wrongly framed, thanks to a convenient administrative lapse by the UP government. This lapse could have been subsequently cured as well by the UP government, but surprise, surprise, then UP Chief Minister Rajnath Singh declined to do so. In 2003, the CBI tried to revive the case in a Raebareli court, which then promptly went on to discharge Advani altogether. The Allahabad High Court set aside this Raebareli court order in 2005, but even though it said Advani was to stand trial, it ordered the dropping of the conspiracy charges in 2010. So another 5 years went by. Now the CBI then moved the Supreme Court in 2012 to sort out this whole confused mess. And then 5 years later, on 19th April 2017, the Supreme Court revived the conspiracy charges against Advani and the others, clubbed all the cases to be heard together by a special CBI judge in Lucknow who could not be transferred, couldn't adjourn the trial, and also said that the trial had to be completed in 2 years. Justice Rohinton Nariman's judgment invoked the apex court's power to do complete justice under Article 142 of the Constitution and said, and I quote here, "This court has the power, nay the duty, to do complete justice in a case when found necessary. In the present case, crimes which shake the secular fabric of the Constitution have allegedly been committed almost 25 years ago. Make that 27 years now and counting, with the deadline extended to April 2020. But, the wheels of justice are turning, however slowly and inefficiently. Over 300 witnesses have been examined. Volumes of documentary evidence have been submitted. There are hundreds more witnesses to come, all who have something to say about the involvement of people like this. Even Kalyan Singh, who had been able to escape the framing of charges back in 2017 because he was governor of Rajasthan at the time, is now in the dock. On the Supreme Court's instructions, he was charged on 27 September 2019 after his tenure as governor ended, and evidence against him is currently being led in the trial court. Now, this is not to say everything is wonderful. The delay in getting this case heard is in itself a denial of justice. Furthermore, some 50 witnesses have passed away, and even some of the accused have died. At the end of the day, L.K. Advani may not be convicted by the court. Even if convicted by the court, he could still appeal, putting off the final decision for several years. However, his role in this whole sorry saga, from the allegations of being part of a meeting at Vinay Katiar's house on 5th December 1992, where there was a whole conspiracy to bring down the mosque, to the speeches he gave from a platform 200 meters away on 6th December itself, when he called for a temple to be built on that spot, his role will not be forgotten. And he sure as hell will not be vindicated.